Joe Siracusa from Melbourne, Australia. He's a professor of security and diplomacy at Curtin University. Professor, good to have you on the program with us. So a lot of talk in these last couple of days about the 25th Amendment to potentially remove Trump. Realistically, though, with less than 2 weeks now in his presidency, how likely is that to happen? And even if it were, would it just be a symbolic?
Well, it'd be more than symbolic. I mean, he'd be leaving office in disgrace. The 25th Amendment is a really good idea, except there's not enough time to do it. It's litigious. It's a lengthy process. There's also the possibility that they can impeach him. This can be done very quickly because the House of Representatives has a Democratic majority, and now the Senate will have a majority with Kamala Harris voting with the majority. Now, of course, he could just resign and allow Vice President Pence to become president, and then new President Pence can maybe give him the pardon that he's looking for. Now, look, they're coming after him. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer want to impeach the president. They've got time to do it, but what they want to do, and what most people do not realize, if they impeach him, even if he's going out of office, this bars him from running for office again. So if they are able to impeach him, and they have the numbers right now to do it, Donald Trump cannot run in 2024. He can't even get to his Twitter or Facebook account. What they're trying to do is make him a non-person, so make him disappear. So they want to spike his guns really good. Now, the big problem here for Biden is, what's he going to do about Trump? Is he going to hold him accountable in his last days? Is Trump or is Biden going to go after Trump with his new Attorney General, Merrick Garland? It seems to me that the new president is going to hold this guy accountable, and that's no way to unify the country. So we got a whole lot of things in play. Donald Trump still has 13 days. He can cause a lot of trouble. How many pardons is he going to give? Is he going to pardon himself? Is he going to start a war anywhere? Is he going to do something dangerous? His enemies think he has to go right away. And his friends, he doesn't have many friends left, but if you're president of the United States, you don't need a lot of friends. You're in charge of everything. Mm-hmm. So the other day, he encouraged protesters, and it got out of control. It wasn't an insurrection. That's a little story the New York Times tells itself, and his opponents say that he tried to overthrow the government. That's nonsense. It was a protest that got out of control. Trump couldn't control.
Let me just interrupt you quickly, because as you mentioned, he does have just 13 days left, and seeing what we have seen, we do know that there is a lot of damage that he still could potentially do. Do you think, because you'd mentioned that he could resign, of course, he always can just do that. Do you think that's the best thing for him to do, or is there anything that he can do in the time remaining to salvage his presidency?
Well, I've looked very carefully at his political DNA. He's not the kind of guy that quits. He never quits. He never admits he was defeated. That little speech you put on your show a minute ago was something he had to do to calm everybody down about the transition, and he's lost, etc. It's way too late for that kind of a talk. But look, he's going to be giving a lot of pardons in the next couple days, and he may be doing some very interesting things. People don't want him near the nuclear weapon and near the nuclear codes or the other things that he can do with China and Iran and other things. Look, the president can do what he wants to do up until January 20th at noon, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. But I think the important thing is, if they impeach him, and they can do it in 3 or 4 days, Donald Trump will be barred from running for president again or any other office, and that would be the final humiliation. So his enemies want him to become a non-person on his way out the door.
Mm-hmm. So that's a really interesting point that you make, that if he is impeached, and they can do it quickly, especially considering that now they actually have the numbers of people who would support that he wouldn't be able to run for office again. Do you think then that Trump's political career is over, whether he is impeached or not? Because we know Trump supporters have been, they've been behind him the whole way. But do you think that this moment in his presidency has gone too far, and he has lost support?
No, I don't think he's lost support. He's in control of the Republican base. 70% of Republicans still regard him as the leader, and if he's barred from office, he'll just double down and control the base and the primaries about who goes forward. Donald Trump will be the head of the Republican Party until he no longer wants to be head of the Republican Party. He's got hundreds of millions of dollars to finance his successors. He's going to be able to anoint and appoint anybody he wants to go forward, and all kinds of people want to be president, including Senator Rubio and Senator Cruz and all the others. But look, he hasn't lost the support of his base. There's 70, 75, 80 million Americans who still regard him as the best chance they have to stand up against the establishment and the elites. So Donald Trump, he may leave office with battered and bruised and bloodied, but he will not leave office bowed and defeated.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Joseph Siracusa, thank you so much for your time.